Ladies and gentlemen, my topic is fighting exclusion, fighting exclusion. Innovative approaches to fair housing laws, dealing with housing equality. So it's a term that we always want to say, or we learn the trend is that I'm leaving here with something. And keep that in mind as I go through this presentation is, I want you to get here, eat your life after this, start leaving here with something. Segregation in America. Segregation is persistent and a current problem that we have going on as today. But it started after or during the Martin Luther King era, to where they found a way that if you can't beat a certain group, you gotta join. So a score indicated for neighborhood residents that only participate in a certain group. So what this means is on this index that it's a score index of segregation, and this across America, and you know that the index is typically high. So for United States to become or normal operating society, you have to have 60% of whites or 59% of whites move out of their community. Let's take on segregation, so you can see that 59% of whites have to move out of their community to have a full integrated society. That's a lot. That's a big number. A concentration of recent data show 30% African American live in a census group that are 75% African American or more. A different role is exposing the index. So index is how we measure the segregation, how we measure the equality of housing. In 2010, when they calculated the indexes, 75% of whites, 8% of blacks, 10% of Hispanics, 5%. That's your typical majority white communities. Your typical majority blacks communities will be 30%, 35% whites, 45% blacks, 14% Hispanics, and 4.3% Asian. So what that means is white communities have majority white communities, and white communities have the majority of black communities. And so here go with data that you can see is the exposure index. So this index ain't nothing changed since 1950. That means that the structure that we currently live in been in place since 1950, even though the laws have kind of changed or the laws have been created, have nothing really changed on how integrated we are since 1950. And so this is San Francisco, this is Bay Area, and understand like how much the population grows. So this is from in the year 2000, and this is 2020. So you can see, you can understand the population growth. But when we talk about housing, as population grows, the house do not grow for people of color or people who don't live a certain status or live for a certain meaning. Here go the Fair Housing Act of 1968. This is the last time they made anything dealing with housing equality. So, and housing equality still be an issue today. Ain't no laws that specifically impact the housing equality since 1968. And this happened after Martin Luther King was assassinated. So this one thing that prompted. And so we haven't had a bigger event. I think the only bigger event in our community that happened since MLK was assassinated was Barack Obama become president. This Franklin County, this is a census tract of the 1970s, and see how it grew from year on year. This 1980, this 1990, and this is year 2000. So you see how much the African American population grew, and that's one of the things that prompted the housing inequality that's going on now. Is we got to grow that population of African American, but you don't have the necessary tool sets to handle the problem. So when you have housing equality in the 1950s, what they did, they created housing programs, especially for, because at that time it was white Americans who had the housing equality. So they had a housing program and they had laws that was help to battle the housing shortage, the housing equality. So every 4 years they came up with new laws to help, new regulations, but we ain't had one since 1968, and African American housing African American population still is getting larger, but we don't have no laws to update each other here. The Fair Housing, this is the FHA, the Fair Housing Act, so you see somebody FHA loan, it's all part of that. It really was never designed for us, it was designed for white Americans, but now seeing that how we typically benefit from it, I think the state is 45%, so probably half of African Americans benefit from the FHA. Now they, seeking is to get rid of that FHA, they want to replace it with something else. And the courts in HUD had interpreted encompass both the treatment and impact claims at the Title VII and the ADEA. And so what they pretty much saying is this came from the courts deemed that this is unethical, is not on a level playing ground, but there are no laws set back. So the courts deemed that this is injustice, but there are no laws or no regulations put in place to change anything. ICP versus Texas. ICP is a nonprofit that was in Dallas, Texas, through the Department of Texas Housing for a program they had. They only benefit white Americans. And the acceptance rate for white Americans was at 92%, and the acceptance rate for African Americans was at maybe 3%. It was almost 3%. So it was a lawsuit that happened. And what they doing was, so when you look at the deal, when it says affordable housing, this is what affordable housing means, just put these on. Affordable housing means that they're gonna subsidize a contract to build housing, and the contract get to build a housing for free, get to build a residence for free, and a fixed rate in a certain period of time. Affordable housing is really not affordable housing. Affordable housing in 1950 was, they give you subsidies and tax grants and other grants so you can buy a house. I'm at 5 minutes. And so here goes the data, and the most important part of this data is how when you add the number of projects, 96, and the project percentage 26.37, that was non-white. So, and 90% of the projects was only taken up from the African Americans, only taking up 27% of the 96 projects. So how did the municipality promote segregation in 1968? The zoning boards helped do it, with loans, mortgages, the procedure for a lot of zoners, and the court, the presence in the courts, they go back pre-2000, or pre-1978, so one to help encourage the segregation that's going on, the housing quality. Okay, thank you.